It is a profound honor to be the beautiful new stadium, to be here with you. Motera Stadium, so beautiful, and joined by so many distinguished guests from all across your nation and all across the world. To the hundreds of thousands of everyday citizens who come out and line the streets in a stunning display of Indian culture and kindness, and to the 125,000 people in this great stadium today, thank you for the spectacular welcome. America is especially committed to working with India to improve development and empower women entrepreneurs. That is why my daughter Ivanka attended the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad to highlight women's economic empowerment. Ivanka, please. We know many of you have invested in the United States, and you have to say thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. You've made us even richer. But the fact is, other than yesterday, which was something pretty bad with respect to the virus, and we'll see what happens. I see the futures are up today, up fairly substantially. But that's a very serious thing, but we think we're in very good shape in the United States. We've essentially closed the borders to areas where we had to close them, and we had very few. We took in 32 people over the last 2 days because they were sick, and they're Americans, and they're great people. You know, what are you going to do? They're in quarantine. But we had essentially 12 people. Many of them are getting better now. Soon they'll all be better, we hope. And we're watching very carefully. So we've had a very, very good stretch of, let's just say we're fortunate so far, and we think it's going to remain that way. China is working very, very hard. I've spoken to President Xi, and they're working very hard. And if you know anything about him, I think he'll be in pretty good shape. They've had a rough patch, and I think right now they have it. It looks like they're getting it under control more and more. They're getting it more and more under control. So I think that's a problem that's going to go away, but we lost almost 1,000 points yesterday on the market, and that's something, you know, things like that happen where, and you have it in your business all the time, had nothing to do with you. It's an outside source that nobody would have ever predicted. If you go back 6 months or 3 months ago, nobody would have ever predicted. But let's see, I think it's going to be under control, and I think I can speak for our country. For our country is under control. But again, we do business with a lot of other countries. We take care, we work with other countries. We want other countries to be happy, healthy, and well. They've got to be happy, healthy, and well. It's very simple. And so let's see how it all works out, but I think it's going to work out fine. I hope so. We're working very hard. We're spending a tremendous amount of money also on, we just asked for $2.5 billion on getting everything ready just in case something should happen, and also helping other nations that really aren't equipped to do it. You may ask about the coronavirus, which is you know, very well under control in our country. We have very few people with it, and the people that have it are, in all cases, I have not heard anything other. Maybe there's something new, because for 2 days I haven't been seeing too much of that news, of very much news, because it's been very all-encompassing. We've accomplished a lot here. We had a lot of meetings, as you know. But the people are getting better. They're all getting better. We brought in some Americans from a ship because it was really the right thing to do, and they're in quarantine. And we think they'll be in very good shape very, very soon. We discussed a lot of different elements. We actually discussed the coronavirus, and at this moment, India doesn't have much of a problem, they feel. It wasn't expressed that they did, which is great. And I think that whole situation will start working out. A lot of talent, a lot of brain power is being put behind it. $2.5 billion we're putting in. I see that Chuck Schumer criticized that he thought it should be more. And if I gave more, he'd say it should be less. It's automatic, you know, with these characters. They're just not good for our country.
On coronavirus specifically, Mr. President, 2014, when the Ebola situation was very concerning to so many Americans, you tweeted, "Ebola patient will be brought to the U.S. in a few days. Now I know for sure that our leaders are incompetent." In all caps, you wrote, "Keep them out of here." More than 20 Americans have now been brought back to the United States with coronavirus. By your own measure, does that mean that your government has been incompetent? Are you pleased with the response?
There's a big difference, in case you don't know, between Ebola and coronavirus. Big difference. It's like day and night. And I felt that we should bring them back. They're Americans. We should bring them back. With Ebola, it's very explosive. It's very terrible. We're making tremendous strides on Ebola with the things that we're doing, as you know.
Isn't some of the money that you're requesting? Sorry,
Let
please.
me answer the question. But there's a vast difference in bringing, especially in around 14, was that 14 or 12? And at that time, nobody had ever even heard of Ebola or ever conceived of something where you basically, people would disintegrate. And we're still working on Ebola.
To be clear, all those brought here survived, though, right? Sorry.
Yeah, we're doing a vaccine. We're doing a lot of things having to do with Ebola. We're not forgetting about Ebola. That's a horrible thing, but we have that now very much under control, other than certain parts of the Congo where they're having war and we can't get in. So we're still working on that. But as far as what we're doing with the new virus, I think that we're doing a great job. I felt that, and the decision was made in Japan, let these Americans come back and we'll see where they are, but they were immediately put into quarantine. There's no problem with it whatsoever. They're all in quarantine. And as you know, I approved $2.5 billion for just that purpose, and also for working and getting a vaccine.
For clarity, those with Ebola, when they were brought here, were quarantined, and all of the Americans also survived, right?
But the level of death with Ebola, at the time it was a virtual 100%.
But none of the Americans who came here.
There's a very good chance you're not going to die. It's very much the opposite. You're talking about 1 or 2%, whereas in the other case it was a virtual 100%. Now they have it. They have studied it. They know very much. In fact, we're very close to a vaccine.
We're thrilled to welcome you to the White House as we proudly celebrate African American History Month. We're pleased to be joined today by Ben Carson, who's around here someplace. Where's Ben? Friend of mine, and incredible. He's doing an incredible job. Alex Azar, and he's working very hard on a thing called the virus. How's it going? Do you have anything to report to us, Alex? Do you want to come up and talk about it? Come up for a second, Alex. Come on. We might as well learn something about, it's a hot topic. Come on. You got a lot of press back there, Alex. Good luck.
We had 1 or 2 last night.
Go ahead.
Just want to report to everybody that thanks to the President's historically aggressive containment efforts, we have really been able to keep the risk to Americans low right now so that everyday Americans don't need to be worried. But that can change, and that's why it's important for all of us to prepare. That's why the President is leading a whole-of-government effort. He's put the Vice President in charge of our entire government, getting prepared and making sure our state, local communities also are prepared. And so the President really deserves incredible credit because he got on this within days and weeks of learning from China about this and took action that people attacked him for. People attacked him for these actions on controlling our borders and quarantining people. But it's kept America safe. It's bought us time. So thank you, Mr. President.
We have a situation with the virus. We've done a great job. And the press won't give us credit for it. We have, in a world that has some big problems, you look at China and you look at industry between the two countries, and I did something that had never been done before, because it had never been done before. I closed our borders to certain areas of the world. I won't be specific because it's not nice to be, specific, but you understand where. And I closed the borders to certain areas of the world very early. We'd never closed the border before. We've never done that before.
Right.
And flights coming in and people coming in because they had a very early problem, and I closed them. I took a lot of heat from the Democrats. They said, what's he doing? Because anything I do, they'll do the opposite. And actually the Democrats said I was a racist, not from black people's standpoint, but from Asian people's standpoint, from Chinese people's standpoint. They said I was a racist because I closed our country to people coming in from certain areas. They called me a racist.
Wow. No, sir.
These people are really in trouble. I'll tell you what, they've got problems. And now they say, oh, we have 15 people in this country that right now we brought in 40 from
these were Americans that were in trouble way outside near Japan. And we brought them in, and they're in quarantine, and they're getting better. That was 40 or 42. We brought them in, which I felt we had to do. So they immediately said, it jumped from 15 to an extra 40. Headline. And everyone said, no, we brought them in, Jack, because if we didn't, I mean, we're not going to let something happen. We had to do it. And I knew immediately that the press would add it in and say this, like it's catastrophic. But we've done a great job. Those people are all doing well. They're doing very well. The 15 of the 15, most of them are doing very well. One is quite sick, frankly. Most of them are doing really well. And the 15 will soon be down to 3 or 4 because we take them off the list as they get better. And they recuperate. Like if you have the flu, you recuperate, you get better. And they're recuperating. But think of it, we're at 15 people, and we would have been at many, many people had we not closed the border. So we don't get credit for it. The press doesn't write it. So good, and things are so good. But where we have really done a great job, I think, was what happened over the last couple of weeks with this, and it just, this is life. Things come up that you never even think about. Who would think that this was going to happen? You hear it starts with a problem that they have in China. And you say, that's too bad, and then it gets bigger, and it starts mushrooming. Then I close the border. I said, just in case. And we have 15 people instead of thousands of people.
That's right.
Okay? Could have been thousands of people. But we have 15 people who are almost all better now. But we do things, and it would be really nice if we could be recognized by the press fairly.
Yes.
And you know what? It would be really nice if we do something wrong, we get criticized by the press. When it comes time to talk about pandemics or whatever you may want to call it, you got to get away from politics. And the Schumers, Chuck, and all these people, they can't, Nancy. You can't go out and just say, terrible, it's terrible. We're doing incredibly. Think of it.
We are.
15 people. And billions of people. 15 people. They're getting better. And soon they're all going to be better. Hopefully one is in very serious shape. And we understand that, and we understand it very well. But we also have the other group, and they're all getting better. So I think it's an incredible achievement that our country's done. And one thing I have to pay tribute, we have, whether it's Dr. Fauci, we have the best people on earth. We have the most talented people on earth. We had to work through an impeachment hoax. That's what they were doing. In the meantime, we had already started preparing because we started hearing rumors. We are so prepared like we never have been prepared. Now, they'll come up with a certain amount of money. Whether it's 2.5, I'll be satisfied with that. Whether it's 8.5, we'll take that too, and we'll have a lot of money left over, and we'll do a great job. We'll probably do about the same job. But I just want to say, this is really above politics. With what we're talking about now, with the virus, we can't do that. We have to do it differently. If we're doing a great job, we should congratulate these professionals that are the best in the world. And you know what? If we were doing a bad job, we should also be criticized. We have done an incredible job. We're going to continue. It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear. And from our shores, it could get worse before it gets better. It could maybe go away. We'll see what happens. Nobody really knows. The fact is, the greatest experts, I've spoken to them all, nobody really knows. But we have done, and our professionals have done, a fantastic job. We're working with other countries. We're trying to help some other countries. A couple of them have gotten hit pretty hard, South Korea and Italy in particular. They've been hit pretty hard. And it'll all work out. And I just want to thank all of the people that have worked with us in government and some of these great professionals, because they have been incredible, the job. To think of it, with all of what you see going on, 15 people, we brought in the others, and they're doing good, but 15 people is almost, I would say, a miracle. Also, what I want to do is I want to thank the black people of America. Because frankly, you people, what you've gone through over the years, and now you're making a comeback like you've never, and I had a